Hey, once more, welcome to yet another episode of the You Can Be Anything podcast. I'm your host, Solange Che, and today is an exciting day. Finally, I know that so some of you will talk to me personally. I've told you how much I want to talk to other people, right? That urge to talk to be somebody that is not Cameroonian. And finally, I found an amazing guy who is here to talk to us about what he does. So I'm going to bring Chris up. Chris is a cinematographer, and he's here to talk to us about what he does.
How are you, Solange?
I'm doing
It feel, it
great,
feel, it feel, it
Christopher.
feels, it feels good to be here. I actually feel very special.
Oh, you are special. For saying
Yeah,
yes to me, I trust you that you're special. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for creating the time. It
no
is
problem, no
duly
problem.
appreciated. Awesome.
Yeah, no
So
problem.
again, I have said that you're a cinematographer. I have mentioned that. I've said your name. Anybody who looks at your name will most probably be able to say that Chris is a Nigerian. Yes, he is Nigerian and he is a cinematographer. But Chris, I want to give you an opportunity. I know that talking with you before, you have already shown me signs of modesty, but I want you to please don't show too much modesty here. Let's forget what your father said a little bit. Tell us who you are. Tell us about yourself. Who would you
Ah,
describe
hmm.
Chris Okonkwo to be?
Okay. Like first of all, let's start by you first said it's just strictly Nigerian. Let's correct it. I'm Nigerian by birth, but by the other side, I'm actually Cameroonian. If you look at my bio on Instagram, you see America, Nigeria, and Cameroon. Cameroon actually even comes before Nigeria. Do you understand? So like Cameroon is my home. Cameroonians, I love Cameroonians. Don't get it wrong. Like so,
Okay.
but let's start. My name is Christopher Okonkwo. I'm a cinematographer. I was never born a cinematographer. I went to military school, born into a military home. Why did I decide to be a cinematographer? Like a couple of things happened to me when I lost my dad many years ago, and I told myself like, um, how do I tell the world what had happened to me? How can I tell my story? How can I tell the world that okay, look at what my mom went through after I lost my dad? And I told myself I don't want my family or whoever I get married to at that time to go through whatever I went through. So I told myself like, okay, let me go into this industry to be able to tell my story. Now, going to the industry, I started off as I was just helping people carrying lights, doing sound, and all that stuff. I'm from a background of real estate. We sell houses, we build houses in Nigeria, and we sell. By the grace of God, we're one of the biggest real estate companies in Nigeria, Netcommerce Limited. We own Victoria Crest Homes also in Nigeria. We build the first solar units in Africa, by the way.
Wow.
So coming from a background of all that, I never want my family never wanted me to go into entertainment. They felt like, okay, these guys that do entertainment, they smoke, they do this, they're crazy. So but somehow, somehow I found myself doing this. I started by, helping people carry their lights, push things around and all that until somehow I found myself in America, right? So while I was in America, I realized that I couldn't work because I didn't even have my papers to work. So I knew that I needed to find a way to make ends meet. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
my big sister, I think was Okonkwo, she took me to this guy. He's a Cameroonian, by the way. His name is Victor Akoko. So she took me to his office. I met Victor. Victor has this VPS studio in Maryland. He was the first person I ever worked with in America. As I was there at his office, trying to see how they do things and all that stuff. And then with time, a couple things I realized back then, that I told myself I wasn't going to let happen to me was that I realized that many people that are in the industry, they have a lot of talents, but they are scared of teaching the next person because guess what? They are scared that if they teach the next person is going to leave them and probably take their clients with them as well. So they get so scared of saying, "Oh, I don't want this person to know what I'm doing. If I tell this person what I'm doing tomorrow, this person will become better than me and all that stuff." So I was able to pick certain things. But guess what? Sometime along the line, we had a situation. We actually went to shoot. My boss had sent some guys to go shoot a wedding, and they went and shot this wedding without audio.
Oh God.
Guess what? Guess what? Why did they shoot it without audio? It was because there were certain things they were not taught, so they didn't know it. So they could. So when they came, all they knew was how to press record and stop, right? So when they came across that situation, they couldn't be able to like say, okay, let me go into settings, fix this, fix this.
Check
So
the
I can,
sound.
yes. So they screwed up, and that was a whole lot. And you know how it is. Weddings can never be repeated. Do you understand? How do you want
Yeah.
to tell the story that you shot your wedding? It's somebody's wedding, they paid you for it, and you screwed up. So I sat down and I told myself I wanted to be better. I wanted to, be able to show people what, you know, most people didn't want to teach me, right? So I started off. I met with Robert Peters, John Uche. I started off with being a BTS person. I was taking pictures on sets. Most of the pictures I was taking was just for behind the scene, right? So basically for continuity, actually. So because in America, for you to be able to like the production value in America is too expensive, to be honest. So people want to shoot a movie, being able to afford that continuity person, it's a lot, right? Because
Mhm.
so they want to be able to visualize the continuity, take pictures of the outfit before the scene, the makeup,
Yeah.
the costume. So that was where I came into place. They brought me in.
So
Come be doing
before you
this.
continue, when you talk of BTS, BTS means behind the scene.
Yes, behind the scene, behind the scene.
Okay, come on.
Yeah,
I'm
so so
learning.
so so I started off doing the BTS, I started shooting couple behind the scenes for, most of these big shots, they will call me with Cinematographer Robert Peters, John Uche. They'll be like, "Oh, Chris, we're shooting a movie, want to do BTS for us. Your job is just to focus on, when the actors are about to get ready, when they get into their scene, take a picture, the location, take a picture of location, let's see what it looks like before we turn it upside down so that when we want to rearrange it for the owner, we can be able to get it back on track." So I was like, okay, I could do that. And I got paid for it, you know. So I started doing that, it was okay. Every time the people had BTS, they'll call me, they'll be like, "Oh, let's call Chris." So they'll call me. I tried acting, I tried to be an actor. It was so crazy. I remember being on this set. It's called it's a movie called Scarlet. You should check it out. It was produced by Winston Taylor, directed by Scarlet was directed by, I think it was hmm was it Janucci? Yeah, Janucci directed it. Robert Peters
So
shot
you
it.
acted in Scarlet. So you're
Yes.
an actor in Scarlet. And then I'm gonna check out that movie. I'm gonna see
I
your
acted in
acting, Chris.
acted in Scarlet, and then for some reason, I didn't even I knew. Maybe by now I would have made it too, because my friends started saying I was very funny. So guess what? I was ashamed of myself because everybody was laughing at me. So during the like there was this scene that we actually took, and then they asked me to take my lines, and I was like, when I arrived America, it was as cold as hell. So the reaction alone, people started laughing on set, and I was like, wow. And then Janucci walked up to me and said, "I don't think this is your calling. I think you should do something else." So I was like,
Okay.
wow. So I felt so bad. But I was like, okay, no problem. What else can I do? So he said, do BTS for just shoot with this camera, do like a couple things. So I started doing that, and before you know what was happening, my big opportunity came one time. It was on set of this movie. Can I remember the name of this movie? It was produced by Princess Maka, actually. I don't remember the name,
Mhm.
but I think it featured Sandra Fondufe, John DeMello. It was a bunch of them. It was the same
Oh, I
directed by
think I
John.
remember that movie because I know that Sandra acted in a couple of movies, and Sandra is somebody
Yes,
I know, and
yes,
I know that she acted in a
yeah,
movie with Don DeMille. I cannot remember the name as well, but
yes.
I think I
So
know the movie you're talking
so
about.
Sandra was in the movie. It was a bunch of people. John directed it, and then the DOP was Tim Wilson. Tim is a
Hmm.
great guy. Is a dude from I met here. I met him on the set of One Night in Vegas when we were shooting One Night in Vegas. One Night in Vegas was directed by Chloe Maxwell. So I met Tim, and Tim is a great guy. He's someone I wanted to learn from. He's all these robotic guys that they even before Ronin, before the track. This guy was great. He's a great guy. So, seeing Tim, working on set with Tim on One Night in Vegas actually made me realize that, oh, Tim is a great, I want to work with. So I told Tim, I was like, Tim, bro, anytime you have something that you're doing, just call me. I'm always, I want to work with you and all that stuff. And I was like, sure, no problem. So on set of this particular movie, I'm trying to remember the name. Oh my God. I wish you told me, I would have looked down those movies and be able to tell you which one it
It's
was.
okay. It's okay,
So
Chris. It's
so
okay.
that particular day, we're shooting, and I think they booked him for like 10 days. And here in America, everybody works by hour, but if you book someone, just let them know what they want to do for you, because at the end of it all, everybody has other things they are doing. Do you understand? So I think they had booked him
Yes.
for like 7 to 10 days, if I'm not mistaken, for the production. But along the line, due to technical situations, the production was going to take more than 7 days or 10 days. I don't remember the actual number of days. And Tim was like, bro, I can't continue because I have another job. Another client is waiting for me, because Tim is a big shot. Do you understand? So it was
Yeah.
like, I have another client waiting for me, and I have to go back to that client. And they were like, oh no, we really need you. Can we pay you double? Can we pay you extra? So you, and it was like, I cannot disappoint my clients. Now, guess what? I learned a whole bunch of stuff from different people. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So in his head, it was like, why would I disappoint a friend that has paid me, booked me for almost how many months now because of your production? If you had planned your production very well, we won't be in this situation. So it goes back to planning. So everybody I meet on set, I learn different things from them. So I could tell you that I have a lot of mentors. Do you understand? So on that particular
Yeah.
day, Tim said he wasn't going to continue. They went back and forth. They tried to convince him money wise, offer him everything he was going to do. And Tim said no, he wasn't interested. And then the director, John Uche, he had to decide. Reason being that it was a bunch of actors on sets. He had what's it called? He had the actors. He had the production team. Everybody, the producer's money was actually going down the drain. So as a good director, or do I say as a good coach, he needed to decide
Mm-hmm.
what was going to be my next line of action. To get a new production team on board was going to be difficult. So he called me to
Yeah.
the side. He said, Chris, can I see your BTS? I showed him. He said it's not bad. He said, do you think you can shoot this? You can complete this movie? I said, director, this is challenging. These people are shooting on Black Magic, and I have Canon. He said, Chris, I think I believe in you. I was one that told you that you should leave acting. The acting is not for you. You should focus on
Acting.
yeah. So I was like,
BTS.
yes. I said, yes, director, you did. He said, I will help you. I think you can do it. And I was like, okay. And that was how I became a DOP. And that was my
Please, what is the
first
meaning of DOP?
director of photography.
Okay. Say
And
you have to
and
say these things and you're talking to lay
yeah,
people,
so
Chris. Thank you so much.
and that was my first shot. That was my first project being a director of photography. But I was just like the second, after the whole thing was shot, it was just like the end bit of the movie. So when I shot the movie, like
Yeah.
people came out like, oh wow, well, like this shot, it was good. The editor came out and said, oh, I didn't even have to do color correction. I think the colors were perfect. I didn't even have to do too much work. I think you should continue. And then I had George Kalu come up and say, oh, Chris, I want you to shoot for me. Give me this. I'll pay you. Don't worry, I'll rent the equipments for you that you're gonna use to shoot. And then we shot Mastermind. We shot couple, George Kalu, Fred Idika, Pascal Atuma. We shot a couple of movies together. And then that
Mm-hmm.
was how everything changed. And then we had the likes of Kang Quintus coming back then, said he wanted to shoot the movie AKEY. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and the list goes on and on. Do you understand? And I tell people,
Yeah.
like, for me, it's um I think photography is what you see. Like, how are you able to tell your story? If you've been given a script, you can be able to, you know, the same thing. People tell me, what's the difference? People ask me, what's the difference between a photographer and a cinematographer and a DOP? But I tell people, we do basically the same thing. The only
Okay.
difference is that a photographer tells a story through an image, like through a
Yes.
still image. Why a
Correct.
cameraman tells a story through the visuals. Like, he tries to tell you the story through what you see.
Yes.
Same thing with the photographer. But the difference is just like shooting a wedding and being able to tell what happened in the wedding from beginning to the end. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So I see them as, for you to be a good photographer, you must have idea about your aperture.
All of those settings.
I tell people, and I'm like, to be honest with you, I think it's almost the same. It's basically the same thing. As far as you're able to control your lighting, you know how to have a perfect lighting, because every image every image you put out there starts off with your lighting. Um, a good cinematographer or a good photographer is all about your lighting. What are you using your lighting to do? What are you using your light to create? Are you using your light to create? Are you trying to create? What is it you're trying to do? Because you decide what you want to do. Every cinematographer can tell a story. If you give them the same script, they can narrate it in different ways. The same way that you have directors directing. If you give an editor videos shot from one particular cinematographer, an editor can narrate that same story in different ways. And that's the same thing
Yeah.
that can also happen to a photographer or a cinematographer. Do you understand? And for
Great.
me, I think
Yep.
I think that has been, that has been my that's my background. So now
Okay,
it's your turn to
good.
ask the
Yes.
question. So,
Yes, no, you see, I told you that again. I know that when you start talking, there is a lot that just looking at your social media profile, I can already tell that there's a lot you do. So I told you that's why I actively called you out not to be modest, to talk to us about what you do. Just to thank you for sharing what you shared. But at the same time, I would love for you to, yes, we've heard what Chris does. We hear how you got into it, how you are actually taking advice from people who are in there and listening to the people you call mentors, right? Because I believe that one of the things that has really helped you to grow and be where you are today is because you listen to people. You let people give you feedback, which you
true.
used now to grow, which so you took that
Yeah.
feedback and you worked on something. You started with your behind the scene, then some for some reason there was a need that you fulfilled, that they said, hey man, you can jump in here and do this. And that is how you went into shooting and all of that. I think that that is a story, that is something that a lot of people listening can learn from. I know that because there is a lot of lack of patience out in the world today, especially when people have already grown up, when people are adults. We are even seeing younger people now not even having the patience to learn something and go through. You are calling big names inside the entertainment industry, both in Cameroon and in Nigeria, in the US. These are people that you've interacted with. And I bet this would not have happened if you did not have that humility to listen to the people that approach to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, to listen to the people that approach you and talk to you. So one thing I would love for you to talk about is when you are doing this, right? How has your experience in this whole entertainment industry, how has that empowered you to help other people? Because one of the reasons that I'm talking to you today is because you helped someone and that person spoke to me about you, and I was like, hey, can I talk to him? So how does all of this connect to your willingness to take away that scarcity mentality that you mentioned above? That because I know this, if I teach this person is going to take away my job. That is a scarcity mentality that we try to talk our people against, or talk the human being against, because if we do the same thing, you're going to have your gig and I'll have my own gig. You get it? So, how did all of this, your experiences, lead you into being open enough to teach other people and make them better at what they do?
Okay. Thank you for the question. So what I always say, like, I always go back to my dad. I think my dad, may he so rest in peace, is my greatest motivation. It keeps me going. Once in a while when I'm stressed and I'm going through stuff, I go back to the words of encouragement he had always given me when I was young. And I put them, to use. My dad always told me that the most smartest people, the most gifted people are literally lying down 6 feet in the grave. And they're lying there without having anybody uh, who knows or has the skill to do what they've done. There are lots of great men in the world today that are dead, that died with their skills, that nobody knows the secrets. You can imagine a man that got married that his wife does not even know the password to his phone, and the man died tomorrow. Most things, if you say the man get money for, sorry, I'm speaking broken, right?
Hey,
The man
please,
might have
it's
money in
okay.
the man might have money in his account that the wife will not even know that this man has this amount of money, because guess what? It has been secret all along, right? So I tell
Mhm.
people, first of all, the thing about it is that you have to live an open life. How do you do that? Like, whoever is around you, you got to show them what you do. Do you understand? Because at the end of it all, what if you don't show these people? These people feel like, I've seen people who look at me and they feel like I do something else than what I do. I'm one of the cinematographers in America that I don't have another job. I don't have a 9 to, apart from the fact that I sell house in Nigeria, which is like more like what I do back home. In America, I really don't have another job. All I do is I shoot movies, I shoot events, and this is how I pay my bills, this is how I buy my house, this is how I do things, this is how I survive. Do you understand? People look at me, they're like, that's not possible. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But at the end of
Yes.
it all, I've seen people like your Camp Quintus that is being celebrated in Cameroon. I remember when Camp Quintus used to like be by the trash, trying to survive, trying to look for food to eat. That's why when I look at people look at him, they don't understand the fact this guy has been through things. Do you
Yes.
understand? Is it the Claudio Oben that owns Busy Vibe, in Cameroon? These are guys that I
Yes.
know. Like we were there. We knew what it was. We went through these things together. Do you understand? I remember 2015 back then. I think 2014. I'd shot Captive with Claudio Oben. I produced Captive with Claudio Oben. Captive was a great movie. At that point, we didn't even have money. We were nominated for awards, Guiama Award, and Guiama stands for Golden Icon Academy Award. We were nominated for the World Music Independent Film Festival. We couldn't even afford plane tickets to
To
go to
go there.
this to go down to these places. We had to drive 22. We had to drive 22 hours. Well, I think it was Dallas or Houston. We drove 23 hours to Dallas just for these festivals. you know, and people never knew what we put into it. I'll be honest with you. As it is right now, I'll tell you that at times I feel like I lost the sale, because I felt like it got to a stage in my life that I felt like I became too comfortable. I felt like,
Yeah.
and that actually started after 2015 when I won NAFCA 2015 for best cinematography. When I competed against the likes of Robert Peters, is it Dark November or Black? No, no, no. Um, hmm, I'm trying to remember these movies, man. It's
Too
been a
many
long time.
movies in your head. I don't expect you to remember everything.
Yeah. So we competed against that movie and we won. We had about 13 nominations, but we came back with best cinematography. At that point, that was like one of the biggest things to me because I was competing against my mentor. I was competing against my own boss, someone who taught me what I knew. Do you understand? You can imagine, even going for the festival, I felt like, oh, I've already won by being nominated among these
To
great
compete.
names,
Yeah.
this being able to compete against these big brands, these big people. And when they came out and said I won that particular, award for best cinematography, to me it was crazy because guess what? I shot a movie with a 5D Mark II, and they were shooting, and at that point they shot their movie with red. Do you understand?
Are those
So it's like
softwares? Are those
those are
softwares or
no, those
cameras?
are
Okay.
cameras. Yeah, so it's like somebody driving a Okada and somebody driving a Rolls Royce,
Oh boy.
comparing the two together. Do you understand? And we came out and we won. So at the end of it all, a lot of things that when I go back and I look back at it, and I feel like it wouldn't have been possible if certain people hid certain things from me. Do you understand? So in the world today, I tell myself, it doesn't take anything out of me. The world is the entertainment industry, the world is a big market for all of us. When I train people, when I teach people what I do, I show them how to go into the field, how to make money. 'Cause at the end of it all, it's all about, they say Igbo people love money, Igbo people know how to make people pay money. And that's true because at the end of it all, whoever works for me, I try to show them how you can be able to, apart from the main aspect of doing the job, I also try to let them understand the presentation of the job. How do you go to a client? How do you talk to a client? To make
Yes.
them
The
pay that big
soft
money,
the soft skills.
to make them pay that big money. Do you
Yes.
understand? Because you
Yes.
might know everything you know today and be the most skilled man in the world. If you don't know how to compose yourself and talk to somebody and make them bring the money out, your skill is wasted. And a lot of people in this world today that they don't have no skill, but their mouth alone. But when they talk to you as a business person, you bring out all your money and you invest in their
For
projects.
them.
Do you understand? Look at
Yes.
Uber, for example. Uber doesn't have any car. Uber didn't start with a car. But guess what?
Mm.
They own one of the biggest transportation company in the world.
Yep. They
Do you
talked
understand?
about it
So
and people brought in their cars to use. Yes.
thank you. So I realized that, what can I do? How can I help the next generation? How can I be able to create employment for people that are around me? I have an office. I have a company in Nigeria. It's called Luova Concept Enterprise. It's Luova Concept. It's the same Luova Concept, but I try to put something in Nigeria for my people out there, so that at least they can, I can be able to, pay people salary, create employment for the young ones out there, and
Nice.
it's not been easy, you know, because at the end of it all, the same situation we face that at times you train people, they leave you, do other stuff, so we won't take your jobs. Some don't even care, some when you become familiar with them because you feel like you want to make sure that they're cool. So I see at the end of it, I began to see why most people don't do what they do, why most people don't want to help anybody. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But at the same time, whether you like it or not, you still have to look out for people. They always say that the bad egg now spoil the good one. So that you like it or
Yep.
not, there are still good people out. There are still good people out there. They need that help. So you can't stop and say, "Oh, I'm not going to help this person because I feel like, oh, I'm scared that this person will take away my clients. I'm scared that this person will take away my job." I have boys I train, and at times my clients go behind and tell them that, "Oh, I have a job for you. Can you come and do it?" But guess what? Some of them will be like, "Oh, you need to call my boss. You need to call Chris. Let him, talk to him first before he would, you know."
Yep.
I'll give you an example. There's a guy called DJ Selmo. He's from Cameroon. Do you understand?
Yes.
Back
Yes.
then, most of Selmo's jobs, I used to do most of them back then. Someone will subcontract me. I'll go do his jobs. When I finish doing Selmo's job, I would I'll give it to Selmo. I'll put his logo on it. I could have put my logo and say shot by Luova Concept or shot by Chris. Do you get? But I'll
Mm-hmm.
put his logo on it. It's his job. He invited me to come and do that job. If I go to the event and somebody tells me, "Oh, please, can I have your number, please?" I'll be like, "Oh, okay. Um, let me get my boss's card for you. I'll get Selmo's card and I'll give it to them." Not that Selmo is like, well, as of then it was like any bigger than me or something, but it was just like he gave me the gigs. It is his job,
Yes.
so I owe him that. To say, and that was where I met what's her name, Ice. Do you understand? It was on it was
Yes.
on Sel it was on Selma's production. Eyes had come there, to learn. Somebody didn't come, and that was how I was able to meet her. And we kind of communicated, and since then we became cool. And every time, even she even told me, she was like, "Oh, when you're doing your wedding, let me come cover your wedding." I did my wedding in Nigeria last year December, and she was like, "Oh, I want to come. You didn't invite me, but it's just a whole lot of stuff on my head. You know what I mean?" But at
Yes.
the end of it all, I tell people, you know, what you do today, everybody I have ever helped, I tell them one thing. I tell them, I'm like, whatever I'm doing for you today, I'm not doing for you to pay me back. Because the truth is that I don't know if I'll be around for you to be able to do that thing back for me. But all I want
Yes.
to tell you is do for somebody else. Do for somebody else. Look out for somebody else. Help somebody else. There's somebody out there who needs your help. Do you understand? We need a team. It's a big industry. It's a big industry. There are people out there that you feel like they don't know. I've seen a whole bunch of talents, great minds in this industry that I've come across in my life. The likes of Wale
Mm.
Champion, Bolu, team, shot by Tife. It's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Soft Nation. I had this girl in Nigeria. Her name is Ife. Even though she's very stubborn, but I still love her regardless. I looked out for her, met her. I remember when I met her on, was it Instagram or whatever, and she said, "Oh, I want to do what you do." And I looked at her, I was like, "Are you sure you can actually do this because you're a female?" And in this industry, people always feel like females really can't do much. But let me break it
Mm-hmm.
down to you. The biggest movies that have ever been produced right now in Africa, in Nigeria, most of them were being produced by women.
By women.
Some of them are being directed by women. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? So these women are doing even bigger things than you, that you feel like that you're the real, because back then you see all these directors, they feel like, oh, they're the real shit. I remember
Yep.
back then in Nigeria, I used to have a director that came from Nigeria. He would tell people to kneel down and raise up their hands. Do you
Oh, God
understand?
have
Because
mercy.
because they want to be actors. Do you understand? So at the end of it all, like looking at the way these things are, you realize that these women are literally doing great stuff, even more than the men.
Mm-hmm.
So why not
That's
teach them?
nice.
Why not show them what you know, and let them, you know, go out
Use
there
it.
and do those magic.
That
So
is
that's
nice.
what it is.
Again, you used it. Yeah, again, just saying that, yes, I'm happy to say I wanted you to be able to create that connection on what led you to be able to help other people. And I see where that is coming from. Yes, there's going to be challenges. You're going to have those people that you will help and they will hurt you, right? They say you I help
True.
you, you hurt me.
A lot of them, a lot of them.
Right.
I've had situations where
Yeah.
I
And
had
you will
people in my
also have
house.
those
Don't think.
people. Mhm.
No,
Yeah, go
no,
ahead.
trust me. So, because the thing is this, I saw those situations firsthand. Back then I used to ask myself that why would my boss that I was working, why would he be acting like this? He doesn't want these people to know much about what he was doing. He tried to hide most of those things. And in my mind, I was like, why is this man doing this? But with time, when I began to, meet people, train people, show people what I do,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that as much as it is, I see people who no matter what it is, no matter what you show them, no matter what help you do to them, they always have this thing about them that is just not perfect. But at the end of it all, what makes you a good manager is how you're able to manage different people.
People. Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yep.
understand? That's what makes you unique. Because the thing about that, you're just an ordinary human like everybody. But your unique ability to be able to manage and differentiate different characters is what makes you unique.
Yep. I agree.
Do you understand? So that's how I see it, and that's what I think. And for me, I realize that most of it, no matter what they do to you or how they make you feel, you still can't stop loving them. Just show them love. Show them, just let them know that what they are doing is wrong. Because I always tell people, if you hurt me, I can't fight you, I can't beat you. But all I want to do is just make you understand that what you're doing is wrong. So that tomorrow, even if you feel like what you're doing is perfect, is right, you realize that, oh, I actually hurt this man. I need to apologize to him someday. You might not see it at that moment. Just like me growing up, my other brother, Dr. Kennedy Okonkwo, is like my biggest mentor. When he sent me to this country, we had a lot of situations and that at times I used to feel like this man hated me. But
We
today I
are
realized
at
that
some point, Chris. At some point in life, we all feel like our parents hated us because they directed us to go the right way.
tr- trust
So
trust me, there are times I would come back late, I'll get locked out of the house. I'll misbehave, they will freeze my bank card. Do you understand? And I was like, what? I'm doing well. This man bought me. I'm okay. So why is he treating me like I'm a baby? But with time, I realized that this man didn't mean no harm. All he wanted was for me to understand the fact that these are the things that life entails. Yeah, but so what I was trying to say is that at the end of it all, like everybody, the truth is everybody has a part to play in your life. Every team player has what they bring to the table. You understand? You can't do it alone. So that you like it or not, you need a team. But at times your
agreed.
team they might act weird, they might act like, they're crazy. But you just have to like understand and know how to bring them back and let them understand the fact that what they're doing at times is wrong. I have one of my boys that I work with that most of the time, he will do something wrong. I call him back, I'll be like, he doesn't know. He's a young man trying to make money, and I'll be like, guy, this thing you just did is wrong. You understand? Let's do it this way, let's do it that way. And at times, he listens. Not everybody has that mindset to listen, to try to learn from the other person. But at times, the things I'm telling you are things I've been through. It's like when I tell
Mm-hmm.
my boss, I'm like, if we do somebody's wedding today, by tomorrow morning, or if possible today, let them have some of their pictures and their trailer before they wake up in the morning. They'll be like, oh
Oh,
boss, we're tired. They'll be like, oh boss, we're tired. We can't deliver this job. How will we deliver this job? I've been opportunity to work with the likes of Tony Elumelu, it's a bunch of them. It's a bunch. I can't start even, calling names,
naming names.
what is political this in Nigeria, like the big shots. But guess what? Why do they come back to you? I have clients that when I work with them, I don't really like my social media doesn't really bring me the gigs.
Yeah.
Most of my gigs come by someone saying, oh, they want something done. They'll be like, oh, I know this guy, Chris. Chris did a
Oh,
job
word
for
of
me.
recommendation. So it's mostly recommendation. Oh,
Yes, they'll be like,
nice.
oh, I know this guy, Chris. He did this job for me, and he will deliver your job the next day. And they will call me and be like, oh, are you available for this day? Even when I give them my prices, I will be like, oh, I have clients flying me all around the world to come shoot for them in Nigeria, different countries. I've been to Cameroon. I've been opportunity to come to Cameroon. I was in Sime Beach Hotel.
Yeah.
I think we came there to shoot. We shot Defying the Cyst. It was with Claudio Oben, produced by Claudio and Belinda Nabila. I have we had what's his name on it? We had Cindy Emma Day. We had what's this girl? Ah man, it's a bunch of them. I just keep forgetting names.
That's
And guess
nice.
what? And guess what? I had fun. Cameroon is one of the. And after I came back to America, I told myself like, I need to go back to Cameroon because guess what? I literally enjoyed Cameroon. That was the first time I had a water massage at my beach hotel. I finished shooting movies. I come back to the
Are you
hotel. They
waiting
give
for
me
a massage?
me good massage after every session. I felt like I felt welcomed. I felt like these people actually really cared about and I came back. I told my friends. I said Cameroon has something that you guys don't understand. I told my friend Claudio. I told Quintus. I said before then, Quintus had not even produced the Fisherman's Diary that is on Netflix today. I told him, I said, Cameroon has potentials. Cameroon has potential because it's an untapped market.
Mm-hmm.
Back then we
Yeah.
had sponsors from all these big brands. They gave us sponsors. It was a bunch of, and I was like, wow,
You see,
you
because
know.
there is that there, as you say, there is something that they want to tap, which again they've not gotten there yet, but the process is going. Talking of the likes of Can Quintus, I always when I saw how far he has gone in the industry, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Hopefully someday I'll be able to talk to him, but I did reach out to him. I think that he is also one young person that is recommendable. Or let me say that is commendable and can be a good influence to other young people that are growing
No,
in the industry.
Camp has looked out for people. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
Yeah,
before I became a citizen of America, I'll tell you the truth. Even on live, anywhere in the world, Camp Quintus paid for me to file for my citizenship. He paid for me. He used his own money.
there you go. There you
When I
go.
got my when I got my 10 years green card, and I went and I was like, bros, let's celebrate. Oh, God just bless me. I don't collect 10 years, and it was like, bros, you
Mm-hmm.
don't collect 10 years. That's good. That's good. You need to file for
Your
citizenship now.
passport. Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do that now. I don't have the money. It's like, what are you talking about? I beg, come, Jerry. No worry. He just went inside the room, brought out money, and said, use it. Go and file for citizenship.
Oh,
You know.
that's
So
amazing.
so
That is
so at the end
amazing.
at the end of it all, to be honest with you, there are great people out there. There are lots of good people.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you never know what the next person, the person you offer a meal today, you don't know what they might do for you tomorrow. The world is
So
like
that is one of the points of these shows, Chris. When I started talking to you, I told you that sometimes we see people, right? These are people, someone like you. My sister talked to me about you, nice things to say about you, all the nice tips and trips that you gave her on her photography journey, because she is, again, studio with eyes. I hold her to very high esteem. She's our own magic maker, right, for our pictures. And just looking at you without talking to you like this, right? Somebody would cannot we cannot really tell. That's why I always say, as I told you at the beginning of this, I like to talk to people like this so that people can come on. Like we just want to know more, right? Look at Can Quintus. This guy is amazing. When I watched Fisherman Diaries and I saw what he's done on it, I was like, this is great. But I don't know that much. If you ever told me, like, there was a social media time on social media that he got bombarded for the only Cameroon, the first Cameroonian to ever do this, you don't see, the social media does not show us that good side of him, that selfless side of him that helps people. That's why I love
yeah,
things like this, because it kind of exposes that other side of people that social media never propels, right? Social media doesn't talk a lot about the good things people do. Most of the times it's when there is scandal that you come up to social media. You know that. So again, thank you so much for accepting to talk to me, and with such a tight schedule, you see how the created time to come talk to us about this and give the little tricks that you've given, the little nuggets you've given about cinematography in general, whether in the US, in Cameroon, or in Nigeria. I do appreciate. One last thing before I let you go for the day. One thing I saw on your profile, and I think that it's important to you, is the whole, what does this statement mean to you when you say learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job? That is something that you said. What does that mean to you?
So for me, I think every day is a learning process. Like as you grow every day, one mistake most of us make is we stop learning. We forget to push ourselves. And what we don't realize is that if we don't push ourselves, we don't have skills that we have to put on the job. I've watched people grow. I've had people that like that I saw go from they taking pictures, and I'll be like, I used to have a boy back then. He would take a picture and he would send it to me, and I'll be like, I don't like it. It would be like, oh, you don't like my picture, you don't like this. But at some point, I started liking every job he does. Whenever he does a job, I'll be like, it's okay. He'll be like, it's okay. What does it's okay mean? I'll be like, it's good.
Okay.
I'll be like, it's good. He'll be like, oh, that's not an answer. That's not an answer. You don't appreciate what I do. And I tell him like, it's not like I don't appreciate what you do. I love what you do, but I feel like there's room for growth. Just work on yourself. And today, most of them, they're doing great. Some of them even know better than I know. They do better than me. Do you understand? But I am okay, and I'm happy that at least because every father we born Pekin, they always pray, make him Pekin big person. Do you
There
understand?
we go.
So if
Yes.
you don't realize that, you have to, work on yourself, learn new things, then you're gonna stay where you are. Do you understand? So you gotta be able
Yeah.
to
When I
grow and
Yeah. When I saw that it attracted me, I was like, wow, this is a good one. Definitely going to ask Chris to talk about this. So thank you so much for sharing. Before I let you go,
no
Chris,
problem.
there is something that I do on my podcast. Each podcast episode is just giving you that mic. You have an international audience, right? I want you to be able to say something that will impact someone. So this is me making you a motivational speaker on my platform. So this is that magical time. Please just say that. Say if you had the opportunity to talk to someone out there, what
Mhm.
can you say that you know that can impact somebody or motivate somebody to feel to do better? Let's put it that way, or find the best versions of themselves. What would you say?
Uh, I'll tell you, don't give up. Whatever you do, like my father always told me, like, if you boil a bucket of hot water and the water is very cold, what do you do to that water? You leave it. After some time, the water will get cold, right? Um, Coming from some, I've lived under the bridge. I lost my dad. I lived under the bridge for years. Not just me, not just my family. Went from rags to riches, and you know, if we can get there, you can do it. Do you understand? So I tell people, just keep pushing, keep believing in yourself, don't give up. One thing you need to do is just keep putting in the work every day. Wake up, pray to God. Without God, nothing. Whatever you pray to, I don't care what it is. If you me, I'm a Christian, right? But I believe that everybody has their own religion. We have the Muslims, we have
Yes.
the pagans, we have whatever you pray for. We all believe that there is one God. Keep praying to your God. Tell your God to bless the work of your hands. Whatever you do, just say, God, change my story. There's a God. If there are people that want to pray, there's a God that is there willing to listen. Do you understand? In your
Yes.
darkest moments, in the moments you feel like things are going zigzag, God is there just waiting for you to say, you need this help. So at the end of it all, keep doing what you do, keep putting in the work, no matter what it is. At times you feel like nothing is happening. It's just like I'll give you an example. You get a hose, you're trying to fill up a bucket of water, You pour small water with cup, they full. But the more you keep pouring,
Mhm.
you might not see the impact at that moment. Do you understand? But with time, you realize that that cup you're putting inside that bucket is actually filling up the bucket. Do you
Yes.
understand? You might feel like, oh, I'm not seeing the physical, I'm not seeing the changes, I'm not seeing it happen. Do you
Yeah.
understand? But honestly, there is a change. There's something happening that you're not literally seeing. So what do I tell people? Keep putting in the work, try to, work on yourself, you know, um, don't, I get angry a lot, but if you can be able to, we all have different things about us. There's a little or more we can take. Like me, when I get too crazy, I just be like, I just need my space. I just say, everybody just give me space. Let me just be in my own zone. And then after I come back to them and be like, okay, I'm sorry if I sounded that way to you. Learn to, get, to don't let everything get you angry. That's my own fault. That's my own, my little,
Goodness.
thing. And if I could work on that, that's one of the things I'll work on. Um, Try not to let everything you see make you angry. You always need a team. You always need that people, that will come around to create something with you, to create that magic with you. They say trade is company, trade is crowd. But at the end of it all, most times there are times you actually need that crowd,
That
to
crowd.
go to certain
Yes, that's
places.
true.
So at times that crowd might be useful to you. At times that crowd you feel like is not worth anything might be your saving grace. So at the end of it all, keep your head straight, keep doing what you do, believe in yourself, never give up. Just know that, um, the world is like a floating river. Whoever is on top, where it might float to this man today, tomorrow might be your own turn. So that young man you see out there, you feel like is nobody, can be on top tomorrow. So respect
Yeah,
everybody, keep doing what you do, and try to be the best version of yourself. Because guess what? The only competition that you have is yourself.
it's yourself.
So just do the right
I
thing.
love
Just
that. Oh God, thank you so much, Christopher Okonkwo. Thank you for coming up and talking to us. I do appreciate you a lot. My dear listeners, I hope that when you listen to this episode with Chris and I, you'll be able to learn something. You'll be able to find something in yourself that as he has told us his story, how he has evolved, how things have changed for him, and hope that that will be able to instill some faith in you and to believe that when you work, the reward is always there. Thanks again, Chris. I
definitely.
appreciate your time. Thank you so much.